story.
Well, I was going to start with TikTok.
Oh, TikTok.
So there's always these talks about.
Time is up, TikTok, right?
Time is up.
TikTok.
Well, there's been ongoing conversations about banning TikTok. But I think the piece of legislation I missed whatever just happened.
I don't know what Brad was saying.
I think what they're considering doing is forcing TikTok to sell to a non-Chinese company. And there's been an interesting split. I saw Joe Lonsdale, who lives here in Austin, on Twitter saying he doesn't love it, but we got to do it. And then there's folks like Thomas Massey who are like, no, you don't give government this kind of power. So that's kind of the two positions on the right. What are you guys thinking?
I mean, doesn't the government already have this power? And we can argue the merits of the case is maybe more important if this is true, but the government already has the power. If they're saying this is a national security threat, right? They can do this shit anyway. I don't know, there's free speech and all that stuff, but is it, there's an algorithm there that's, the accusation is the Chinese Communist Party is changing the algorithm for, American and Western minds to flood it with twerking and drugs and more twerking and, bullshit, Waffle House fights or whatever the fuck, right? And, but in China, they force it to be, little kids doing long division, right, at the age of 4, which I think is normal there. But the thing is, if that's, is it free speech? I don't know. You're getting flooded with the stuff. You have a choice to be on it, right? You could say, no, I don't want to be on it. But it's also like it's an addiction for a lot of people. And I think that's pretty well established. I don't know. If you sell it to an American company, is it going to be better? Are they going to take off the twerking and the drugs and the Waffle House fights? Probably not. All right. So what is it? Are they really selling our data? Probably. Is Facebook?
Yeah, I think they probably are. But how much what are they really getting out of your TikTok? They're getting your interest and stuff, but probably not your bank account information or things like that. Not to say that the information they are gathering in the aggregate, it can't influence people or influence positions. But you're right. If an American company or individual buys it, do we expect something different? Look at Twitter. There's porn, child, sex trafficking stuff. There's, just racist stuff, anti-Semitic. There's just plenty of stuff on Twitter. And more often than not, when I go on Twitter now, I see recommended stuff more than I see people that I actually follow. So it's, is it any different? I don't know. I'm not on TikTok, so I can't really say. But do I think the content's going to be better? No. But I think to your point, you're right about what I've heard from TikTok in China. They do present different content. There's restrictions on how long kids could use it and things like that. And so, yeah, I don't know. I don't think it's really going to be much of a difference if Twitter or even Facebook to some extent and Instagram are any indication of what you're going to get fed on the social media platform if an American buys it. So, I don't know.
Well, are they going to? So, quick question. Are they actually going to pass anything, or is this just all? The Congress might pass something. Is the Senate going to pass something as well? And is it going to get to the president's desk? And is he going to sign it, or is this all just?
I think he said he'd sign it. I guess what is he going to sign? Anything, whatever they tell him to sign, he'll sign. But I don't know if it's going to happen. It seems like it's got a lot of legs, right? Isn't that what they say? It's got gams.
Yep. Gams.
Charles, love that. There's the national security threat. They're taking Americans' data. There's allegations of keystroke. They can track your keystrokes, so they get your passwords, stuff like that. So maybe it's not fucking Charles going wild with that.
I'm expecting you to say broads next or it's something crazy.
Anyhow, they I'll try to work that in later, but if they're logging your keystrokes, yeah, and then they're using that against you, and maybe there is a nefarious CCP plan to flood the young American mind with, bullshit to make it soft and malleable and lazy and all that stuff. And it seems like that's what TikTok is doing. right? And so I don't know. That's something only Americans can do to Americans. All right.
Yeah. So I have two competing opinions on this. I have what are my like principled and like what I actually believe, and then I have my pragmatism that's like, okay, from a policy perspective, what is the right thing to do. My personal beliefs is we shouldn't use government force to make up for our lack of leadership at a local and family unit level. If you're allowing your kids to be on TikTok, that's a problem of the parent, not of not for the government to come in and just ban the thing because the parents aren't taking responsibility for what they're letting their kids consume. But on from a pragmatist standpoint, I think there's some merit in rebalancing the relationship between China and the United States. And if we're not allowed to own social media apps in their country, why should we allow the CCP, who's, like you guys said, putting divisive and dumbing down content on TikTok here versus what they put there? Why would we let them do that if we're not allowed to do it there? So I get it. I'm not super fired up about it. I just am like, yeah, my kids are never going to be on TikTok.
Yeah, I'm not super fired up about it either. I maybe they have presented this, but I'd like to see, what the basis is for the fear. Like, is there something that we can point to that has happened or transpired because of TikTok access in the United States for kids under the age of 18? Like, is there something there that can be kind of, clearly correlated to this? And there may be. And what?
It's called trans.
Well, depression, suicide rates, especially among young people, that can all be tied to social media. In 2018, although not causal, if you listen to Jonathan Haidt's research on it, there's a significant uptick in 2018 when TikTok became popular in depression among young girls. Although not causal, but that's more social media more broadly, and kids of that age shouldn't be on social media, probably, period. Yeah. And there's growing evidence and research that suggests that that's actually detrimental to kids, and we need to catch up as a society and say, our kids probably shouldn't be scrolling TikTok or Instagram or Facebook when they're 12.
Well, when did you guys start social media? Like when and what platform?
MySpace in college. I'm aging myself. But yeah.
Wow. College, huh?
I think my first one was Friendster in high school. And that quickly went by the wayside and then got on MySpace. And, that's how I learned how to treat a woman on MySpace, hitting them up in the DMs. Right? That's fun times. Yeah, Michael knows. Yeah, and then MySpace, I don't know, and then I was on Facebook. I was never like super into social media. I'm still not super into social media. I fucking scroll it way too much, but I don't really enjoy posting all that much, even on Twitter, where I have the biggest following. I think I have maybe the biggest on the show, maybe, I don't know. No, Charles is more. Fuck you, Charles. God damn it.
It's those Yimby views. That's what gets it.
If I wanted to sell my soul to the devil too, then maybe I would have some more followers. But I stay pure. All right.
My first social media was in probably like 7th or 8th grade. I'm trying to think if this website. I mean, it wasn't like Facebook or Twitter. It was this website called Party Body, and you used to go to it to find out where like all the like parties would be. And like it was middle school, so I wasn't like going. I wanted to, and so you'd create an account and you'd interact with people. Then from there, it went to Zynga. I don't know if you guys remember that, but we used Zynga a lot in New Jersey. That was like freshman year of high school to like sophomore year. Then junior year, we started using Facebook. MySpace, and then Facebook senior year, because I think that's when they just opened it up to people outside of college. And so we
started what was it called?
It was called like Party Body, and you would go on it.
A bunch of kids going on something called Party Body to find local parties.
There was nothing inappropriate on it. It was just.
Yes, it was all inappropriate.
It was like a bunch of local party promoters who put their stuff out, and then you would talk to people about like, oh, you're going to this party, like whatever. And
yeah, so I think there's some people that go out and catch those promoters nowadays. Some vigilantes.
Okay, so
I'm glad that you avoided the worst of it, but I am sure there are plenty of stories in your New Jersey neighborhood of other kids going on party. What was it?
I think it was called Party Body. And
Party
it was
Body. Oh,
okay. But to be clear, at the time, and I don't know if they still do this or not, there were like in middle school, they had 6th, 7th, and 8th grade dances at different schools that you can go to. And then starting in 9th grade, a lot of the local clubs would have teen night on like a Thursday night or on a Sunday night where you could go and it would end at like 10 or something. Obviously, no alcohol would be served. So you could go to clubs. It just wasn't a club. I mean, it wasn't a club.
Were the local clubs, was it the Nambla Club having a teen night on Party Body?
All right.
Oh, that's funny. I've never heard of that. I'm sure it was very kosher. My apologies.
So maybe they pass something, maybe they don't. We'll stay tuned in to what's happening there and keep people apprised.
Abreast.
Okay, let's